In this Make It Once video, replacing the object formerly known as water pump. And so if you're looking around, I've seen these like splatter patterns and it wipes off. So rusty residue. So it looks like this may have been, you know, like the rusty radiator fluid.
Not exactly the most convenient way to do this. This is running down the outside of the tube, but I think I'm getting most of it.
Working on the 2-gallon jug of coolant through the petcock on the engine block. Taking a look at the 1st gallon that came out. There was some rust that did come out. Not too much, which is good. It's a good sign. It's mostly green, not perfectly clean, so there was still some stuff to be flushed, but that's definitely good that just after one flush it's already getting most of it out. So we'll get all this stuff out, get the water pump going, and then fill it up with new coolant. I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to do this. There's not a lot of room in there to get it on, but it's spinning. So what I have to do is loosen up the tensioner, get the belt off, and then I don't have all the special tools for this, but figure out some way of clamping this part here. So it's loose, but in order to pivot the generator here, I need to get the bottom one, which is a 3/4. And I don't want this to go swinging into everything and break all these plastic parts. There we go. There, so that's loose. I don't want to take it out, just loosen it up. So now this should move. I'm going to get the belt off. Maybe. There we go. That's free. Take a look at this. Ooh, that's cracked. Wow, almost all the way through. Crazy. So I think I have another one of those somewhere. So what I need to do, oh, and look at this here. I almost can pull the thing off without even undoing anything. So I'm going to try to get a wrench around this somehow. Alright, so I'm going to use a filter wrench with some electrical tape to kind of wedge down in here. Nope, that's not going to work. So just wiggling it around, you can see the water is already dripping. So I got a bar clamp, put the belt back on so it has something to kind of pinch down onto. Nope. So I think what I'm going to try to do, and this is probably not the best idea in the world, but all I have left is I'm just going to take the water pump off with the fan and the pulley in place. So that one's free. That one's free. That one's free. Okay, it's getting in the way. So I'm going to get that off. And that should allow me to rotate this down. There we go. Alright, so I got this bottom shorter bolt free. There we go. So I think there's still a little bit of fluid in there. So I'll put my kiddie pool down there to catch everything. So I found a little opening where the gasket kind of wasn't in there, and I got the screwdriver crammed in there and just kind of gently tapping. It seems like it's glued on there. So I'm trying not to put a hole anywhere that doesn't need to be a hole. I got the bolt that was holding the bottom tube free. That seemed to be actually creating enough kind of like resistance that I couldn't wiggle this out. Finally got it free. Had to put the bolts back in, take them out, wiggle it, use some blaster to loosen up this rust stuff or whatever. Hopefully it didn't do any damage, but as soon as I get these bolts back out, it's going to be totally free. I'm going to probably have to get this out of the way. So this upgraded fan is nice until it's not. There we go. Maybe it comes out this way. Oh my goodness. I'm no expert, but I don't believe that a water pump is supposed to have this stuff in it and be loose. So the water pump is out now, so let's take a look. Hopefully you can kind of see this. It's not too bad. And now some Allens. Do this the smart way. Maybe the smart way. I don't know. Saying this is the smart way assumes a lot about me. Maybe that makes me smart. Maybe that makes me dumb. So that doesn't look horrible in there. Actually, I was afraid that was going to be rusted solid. So, and now we can get the pulley off. So I got it off with a few taps of the mallet, and then I'm going to put these parts, they're a big mess, in my degreaser little pot, like this. Man, that's really jammed in there. So I got it free. I just had to use the pipe wrench. I did mar it a little bit, but not too much. So I'll be able to paint that over okay. It's in fine shape. It just needs to be cleaned up. So we'll put that in our degreaser. Who needs a multi-$100 parts cleaner when you have an electric toothbrush, an old aluminum pot, an old hanging planter, and a hot plate? So all this together is maybe 40 bucks or something, and most of it I just had lying around. Here's our new pump. All its glory. The directions for the water pump actually say to use sealant on the gasket. I'm going to apply very thin non-hardening sealant gasket cinch on it. So this fan setup is called a viscous clutch or a viscous fan. It has oil in it, and the idea is that there's some sort of clutch in there, or viscosity, and so when the fan is spinning too fast, it actually slows the blades down, so that it's always a constant speed. So as the engine revs up, this fan is keeping at its most efficient speed. So that's what this is all about. It's quite heavy. I'm going to assemble it in pieces, and if it doesn't fit, then I pull the radiator. So the first step is to put the pump seals. There's 2 of them. This is what goes onto the block, and so I'm going to use some Seal Glide on these. And there's kind of a question, a lot of people say, oh, you don't need it. What it does is I think it protects the rubber. So as it ages, the rubber is going to dry out and probably stick to the metal or shrink. And so then vibrations and movements will grade away at the rubber parts. So by putting Seal Glide, you're kind of creating a barrier. So first, it doesn't dry out quite as quickly, but second, as it shrinks and the metal moves and all that, because they're being smashed when you put them in place, it doesn't actually grind away and create weak spots. So I put the gasket seal on my gasket. It's dried for 5 minutes. I'll grab one of my long bolts. Again, the gasket seal is to create kind of a tackiness, like a dry rubber. It has the equivalency of a contact cement. I think that's probably some variant of what it is. So I painted the bottom pipe. It probably won't prevent corrosion too much, but it looks better and it'll create a little bit of a barrier. Sorry for the barking, the neighbor's dog is kind of going nuts. So I'm going to tighten these up. Now it has these crush washers that came with the water pump that keep these from spinning out, from spinning loose. When the engine is starting and stopping, it creates a lot of rotational torque, which can undo the bolts. So usually when there's a bolt in the center also, it spins the opposite direction and they'll reverse the thread so that it doesn't come undone when it's starting or when it's stopping. But I guess starting and stopping are different directions. So that's in. I also got a new belt. I hope this is the right one. Looks like it. Kind of was just, it was in one of the cars. I don't remember which one in the back seat when I bought it. So who knows how old it is, but I took a look at it. It looks like it's a new one. It just was kind of new old stock. Oops. Got everything kind of up to this point back in place. This is tensioned. It might be a little bit tight there. It says 10 millimeters. I don't know what 10 millimeters is, like 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. I think that's okay. But I can't get the viscous fan in place. So the green book actually says to take the radiator out, and I think it's as simple as just pulling these 2 bolts, and since it's already drained, it should be pretty easy. So just need to take expansion tank out. I think I'll leave the hose, but just take it out of here so I can get at that bolt, and then it lifts out. Get the bottom hose off. So we see dripping all over the place. So the main one is the top coolant pipe. Doesn't seem to be the gasket, which is good. When I put this all back together, I didn't realize that the O-ring on the top pipe got pinched and kind of popped over the little ridge, so it was leaking when I filled it back up. It's actually not leaking now, so I don't know what happened, but I do need to fix that so it doesn't leak. So I'm just kind of draining all the coolant out again. So when I undid this bolt under here, there's supposed to be a washer between the pump and this flange. And I knew the washer dropped and I couldn't figure out where it went. There it is down here. Things drop into weird places. Oh wait, that's not it. That's a different washer. That's amusing. Is there another one in there? Is that the repository for washers? Found it. It went rolling under the fence, so it took me a little while to go find it. But now I can continue. So there's some air trapped in the system, so I think I'm just gonna crank it over. Taking a look, it's been sitting for a bit. There's no dripping. The pipes are dry-ish. Looks to be okay. I don't see any drips anywhere.